right. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to today's talent show. I'm Rebecca. I will be your host for today. On the talent show, you meet the people that power TTEC. So we're glad you're here because we've got a great conversation ahead that I think not only is going to give you some great insight into employee engagement and the world here at TTEC of customer experience, but it's also going to help you provide some advice in your own career as well. So thank you all for being here. We know you have many choices of how you can spend your time, and we appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us for a little bit. So before we get started on today's show, we love to meet you. I can see people are already dropping in the chat from around the world. We appreciate you dropping by. Come on, don't be shy. Let us know where you're joining us from. We love engaging in the conversation in the chat, and so we appreciate any insight and opportunity for you to meet other professionals from around the world. So hello, Manindar from Telangana. Nice to see you. Jawad from Lake B2B. Michael from Canada. Hello, Michael. So great to see you. And Dora from Athens, Greece. Summer party today for our TTEC team there. Excited about that. We also have a lot of team members or guests from Denver, Colorado. Stacy Stevens, shout out in Kansas City. Great to see you. David from Liverpool. So everyone, please keep dropping in the chat where you're joining us from today. We'll have some questions for you as we go along the way as well. So we've got a great conversation ahead because next week is the celebration of all celebrations in the customer experience world. It's Customer Service Week. So we're going to talk a little bit about employee engagement, how the field has developed, why it's more important than ever with today's guests. But before we get to that, evidently, we have a lot of celebrations going on because it's also Hispanic Heritage Month here in the United States until October 15th. So we'd love for you to head over to our Talking Off the Clock podcast, which our team will drop the link in the chat next week to listen in on a conversation between Carlos, who is our Director of Talent Acquisition, and Ramses, one of our operations leaders out of Las Vegas, as they celebrate and discuss all things about the Hispanic community. What I particularly love about their story is that they're talking about the importance of paying it forward and trailblazing and lifting others up. So that will be dropping next week. So come and follow our podcast on Spotify and you'll never miss an episode. So back to today's show. So Customer Service Week is next week. As you know, or if you're part of TTEC, it's one of our biggest celebrations of the year because we're celebrating our frontline associates and the support teams that help deliver millions of amazing customer experiences every day. And a part of that is helping our team to feel that career fulfillment so that they can continue to pay it forward in their conversations or chats with customers around the world every day. So we're going to let's meet Katelyn Harpe. She is today's guest. She is our Employee Engagement Manager. She is responsible for our global efforts and initiatives and collaborating with our global operations partners worldwide alongside her team to bring amazing employee experiences to life here at TTEC. So, Katelyn, let's meet.
Hi, folks. I'm Katelyn, Global Employee Engagement Manager here at TTEC. Thank you all for having me here today. Very excited, and it's great to see you, Rebecca.
Hey, Katelyn, great to see you too. I realize that we have chosen you probably at the busiest time of your career here as we enter Customer Experience Week. And yet, no better time to join us than to help tease out a little bit what's ahead for Customer Experience Week. But before we start and before we get over to some of the career advice that you're going to be offering today, could you share a little bit more with us about you and your career journey so far to date?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm certainly not where I thought I would be. I can start there. Growing up, I really was dead set on the career path of being an accountant, and so I pursued higher education to become an accountant, and I launched my career. And very quickly after going into that field, realized that it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. I certainly was a good accountant. I certainly was a good employee, but I just was not feeling connected to my work. I was not feeling fulfilled. And some things that I saw in the workplace were honestly a little concerning and disturbing. Seeing folks feel drained from work, seeing folks feel just dead at the end of the day. I sat back and I said, there has to be a better way. Certainly, this isn't what the next 40 years of my career is going to look like. And so that really led me down a path to discover more about employee engagement, more about our overall employee experience, and how, again, to just make work worth living, make work worth working. And so really went out on my own there, and again pursued that education, poured into myself, took a few turns and roadblocks and bumps along the way, but now I'm here doing global employee engagement full time and have felt so fulfilled by pouring into others and ensuring that they have a really wonderful working experience.
I love it, Katelyn, and I think what the audience is gonna notice today is your experience, as you said, you pour into you, but you're also helping to pour into others
Yeah.
at the same time. So your career path has led you to your own career fulfillment, and it's gonna lead to others as well. So we're gonna talk a lot more about that in a minute. But I know when you and I were talking, you shared a little bit that this is really a growing field, employee engagement. It's relatively new. And so, could you just level set for us today as we go into the rest of our conversation? What is employee engagement? Why is an employee experience important? And what role do you play with that?
Yes, absolutely. So, how my team views employee engagement and how my role is set up, to give you a little insight there, is that there's three pillars of my role. There's events and activities. And so that's what a lot of people think of employee engagement just on the forefront. They think of the parties, they think of the summer party that Athens is having today. They think of the customer service week events that we're having all around globally next week. They think of the year-end parties that we'll soon be having. So I think that's the forefront and what folks are used to seeing. But the second pillar of my team is our employee listening strategy. So for us and for employee engagement as a whole, it's not just enough to throw these parties and sit back and say, wow, you got your $5 pizza. Aren't you happy? We want to hear back from our employees. We want to hear what's working, what's not working, what in your day to day is a barrier to you being successful. How can we help collaborate with you to make your work fulfilling and to make your work engaging and something that you want to be doing? How can we help you see the broader picture of TTEC's world? So that's the second pillar. And then the third pillar is rewards and recognition. So we have several programs all throughout TTEC that fit this pillar, rewards and recognition. And that's really where we give back to our employees. And again, that's not a party and that's not our surveys. That's where we either have monetary or non-monetary recognition to call out those behaviors, those performances for folks all around the company that we know they're doing such a good job and we want them to feel recognized for that. So those are just the pillars of my team and how we tackle employee engagement here at TTEC. But to step back a little bit, like you're saying, Rebecca, employee engagement is new. It's something that folks can be uncomfortable with, and that's okay. We're really seeing that the first idea of employee engagement or the first research for employee engagement was back in the 90s. But the first time that companies started really pouring into investing in talent for employee engagement was about 8 to 10 years ago. Only about 8 to 10 years ago did we have employee engagement strategies or employee engagement managers or specialists like me and my team. And so it's a very new field. It's very difficult, I will say, to pivot over to because it's new, but it's very exciting and there's a lot of opportunities there.
Thank you so much, Katelyn, for sharing that because, as you said, it's such an important piece of how we go to work
Yeah.
and what gets us motivated to do well so that we know we're making an impact in what we're doing and we're being recognized, rewarded for, whatever it may be, or have that $5 pizza
Yeah.
or the opportunity to go volunteer in the community, with
Yeah.
our teams as well. So as we talk a little bit more about all these engagement activities, what is the importance, and what importance does the human connection have as you play into creating again, not just the activities, but grabbing people's voice and helping to make sure that we're partnered with them along the way? We've obviously been through a pandemic. It's been a crazy few years. It was probably a crazy few years prior to that, even too. So, could you tell us a little bit more about what you found in your studies about that human connection piece?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you're saying, Rebecca, um, to kind of tie those two things together, employee engagement as a career field, yes, it's new. Only about 8 to 10 years ago did we first have our first roles for employee engagement. But then, like you're saying, Rebecca, uh, the pandemic happened, and that certainly changed everything. It changed everything for how you go to work. It changed everything for how I go to work. It changed how companies are set up and established and how they run their day to day. And so naturally, it changed the employee engagement field. And from my perspective, and what I saw was that the pandemic was the first opportunity where you could specialize in employee engagement. We weren't just sitting back and looking at the employee engagement strategy as a whole. We were also looking at the return home piece of it, of how do we send everybody home and keep them engaged, and at home employee engagement. That was one specialization. But then there's the other specialization that arose with return to work, return to office, and managing through layoffs and managing through change management as a whole. So that certainly changed the ballgame. That certainly changed career pathing for employee engagement. But it's exciting to see all of these career development opportunities. And through that, I was able to really dive deep into further education on how folks respond to that. How did we feel going remote? How are we feeling about potentially going back into an office? Or folks who have gone back into office, what was that transition like for them? Certainly scary, right? All change can be scary. And so that gave me an opportunity to really dive deep, and develop myself further, and to bring knowledge to the table for the organization of how are we as human beings responding to this, and how can we go about any of these options in a humane, ethical, and comfortable way. And so, like you're saying, Rebecca, a huge piece of that is wanting to feel like we all belong. And that's one of the biggest things that we have, as a human population. And that's one thing that I think is such a benefit to TTEC, of having this global span, is to some degree that can be overwhelming to say, someone here in Denver is not going to have the same culture, the same background, the same experience as someone in our Mexico site, or someone in our UK site. That's certainly not the same culture or experience growing up, or work environment. But what we do all have, and what we can all hold on to, and how we can build strategies together, so we are all human and we all want this sense of belonging and purpose. So by bringing that as the foundation of our employee engagement strategy, and the foundation of any decision that we're making with our workforce, we're going to win, as long as we have that foundation in place and that at the forefront of our mind.
Great. Thank you so much, Caitlin, for that. And I just want to acknowledge some people in the chat real quick as you talk about that human connection. That's one of my favorite things about the talent show, is meeting people from around the world. And one of our team members from the Philippines, Aika, is here. Hello, Aika. And we did just have an alumni, Michael. He's back, lunch ended, so he's out. But we're glad that Michael was able to stop by. Julie B. Compasas from the Philippines. We also had people joining us from Arkansas, Justin, Fozzie from Ohio, Mani from Dusseldorf. So again, back to that human connection. I think that is one of my favorite parts of this show, is meeting people from around the world, even if it's just for 20 minutes, having that opportunity to share your story and some other amazing team member stories every time on the talent show. So Caitlin, customer service week is, I don't know, you probably have a countdown of how many hours and minutes are ahead, but we're going to be kicking it off on Monday. So what's one of the things that you are looking forward to about next week?
Yes. Well, first, I want to give that plug for the entire planning committee and my entire team who's been working on these efforts since about late July, early August. So much time, planning, and effort goes into Customer Service Week, and we are so excited to get to celebrate with our team members globally. One thing that I am particularly excited about with this week is that we are going to have a wall of wow in every office across the globe, and we're going to have a wall of wow on Mosaic so that it's accessible for our remote employees. And that wall of wow is an opportunity for you to shine. Maybe you have a really outstanding customer experience. Well, write that on the wall of wow. Maybe you see that your team member is going above and beyond to live our TTEC values. Write that on the wall of wow. We want this wall of wow to really shine our employee population because we know we have so many superstars out there and we want to see them. And so I'm personally really excited to be able to follow up on Mosaic every day and see these wonderful stories. But I'm also really excited that at the end of next week, I'll get pictures of the walls of wow across the entire globe to again see the wonderful talent that we have across the organization.
I do love the wall of wow, and I think one of the great things about it is, back to the things that make us human, the connection piece, but also knowing that we're making an impact. So, seeing that wall of wow and knowing what our frontline associates are helping customers with every day and the impact they make on other human beings is a really fantastic opportunity. So, like you said, whether we're at a site or we head over to our own intranet to check out that wall of wow, it's a great opportunity to really see that what we do every day is making an impact and a ripple effect across the globe. So, speaking of impact and ripple effect, Katelyn, I love how you started your story with, I had this dream career and it turned out to be
Mhm.
not so dreamy.
Yeah.
And you didn't just say, okay, well, I, chose this college degree, so now I've got to write it out for the next 40 years. You took a step back and you said, hey, how can I make this better? And what's cool about it is it not only made it better for you, but it's making it better for other people too. So many people in the audience today may be thinking, whether it's a small career pivot or a total career change, a second career, a new outlook on their career, each of us might need just a little more, like you said, a human change is hard for humans. It's a little bit scary. What are some of the things that helped you as you started to explore moving away from your former dream career to this new one that you have?
Yeah, great question, Rebecca. I think first of all, I want to say you can do it. If you want to make any change in your career and you feel that that is the next step for you, I want to say you can do it. Um, I think looking back, the transition from accounting to employee engagement on paper seemed so drastic. It seemed like I was making a full 180, and to many people, it didn't make sense. But I will say there are so many things about my background in accounting that I bring to my employee engagement job every single day. And I have found that those skills and that background has helped make me not only stand out in the employee engagement world, but they have helped me to be successful. So, first of all, you can do it. And please leverage your current skills and your current job to get to where you want to be. And that's possible. But second of all, I would say really look at the investment for yourself and with my own personal experience leaving the career track that that I felt I was destined for and that I had set myself up for so many years, that initially took a pay cut and it took a financial commitment to be able to further my education and further my experience in the employee engagement field. So my advice to you is be prepared for that. Be prepared that it may be an uphill battle sometimes, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it. You just have to realize what you're pouring back into yourself. Again, I poured financially into myself to be able to learn and to become an expert in this field. But I have seen that return. I have seen that my career has gotten back on track. I've seen all of the success, and I've also seen how much I feel more fulfilled in my day to day and how much I'm impacting others. And knowing that I get up and I go to work every day enthused and excited about what I do, that is so much better than any potential monetary reward that I could have made in my career track with accounting.
I love it. You can do it. You can do it. And there's going to be
Yes,
taking a
absolutely.
little step back and looking at things. I love it.
Absolutely.
And
And then
as
also
we're
to add to that,
dropping, oh yeah.
oh, sorry, Rebecca. Well, I just wanted to add to that too. Something that came to mind as well is also being comfortable really navigating the ambiguity, right? When I was moving over to employee engagement and employee engagement as a sector as a whole, there are no metrics per se. There's not a training book for how to get here, and that's okay. And maybe that's the career that you're looking to pivot into, and certainly a pivot as a whole there's a lot of ambiguity there, but feel comfortable in that ambiguity. And it's okay if things aren't totally crystal clear, like some other career pathing.
I love it. Katelyn, you and I were talking, we could already have a part 2, 3 talking with you around that feeling of ambiguity and how do you move through that and get to that next career path forward. So just wanted to also go to the audience. If you have some great advice for making a career pivot, again, it can be either small or large. We'd love to hear it and help each other kind of take the fear and get more comfortable with being a little uncomfortable as well. And hello, Julie B. She says hello to you as well, Katelyn and Marvin. Hi from the Philippines. And Jeanette is joining us again. We love to see you, as well as Nancy Stern. Thank you for coming back. Wagner from Brazil, hello, great to have you here with us. And Ika says, thank you for the advice, Katelyn. It was very inspiring. So we
Oh,
appreciate it. Oh, by the way, Bria Martin says that as well. So thank you. So yeah, one of the things I also love that you talked about with me was that in your accounting role, you started to take on some employee engagement related type of activities. So what I love is like our guests a couple weeks ago, Mariana and Enrique, they talked about how to turn no's into yeses and how to not let that stop their dream, but they found a way forward so that the yes would be the next answer the next time. And I feel like that's what you are doing too, is you're living an abundance kind of mindset of like, how do I position myself? So could you talk a little bit more about that piece too, of how to act as if you're in that next role, to either kind of take it for a beta test, take it for a spin, see if you like it, or eventually build the reputation like you did, and that became your career. How can we do
yes,
that?
absolutely. Yeah. So I did start my career continuing on my career path because I certainly did not want to have, I didn't want to walk away, right? I didn't want to walk away from my stable job and totally abandon that comfort and what I had going on there. And so to your point, Rebecca, yes, I decided that there had to be a better way of working than my team being miserable, than me going to bed at the end of the night just exhausted from my day. And so what I did was I looked externally. At first I looked internally and I said, are there any resources that I can help engage my team? Are there any resources for how I can engage my department, for how I can make this work more fulfilling? And internally, the answer was no. And instead of stopping there, I did look externally. There are so many wonderful programs in the employee engagement space, and I went to several summits and seminars and networking events so that I could learn about employee engagement initiatives and how to build a successful program. I then went back to my day job and I started implementing, of course, starting with the events and activities piece. It's a little bit more in your face, a little bit more obvious when you're trying to implement those strategies and policies. So I did that with my own little team of 10. And that kind of spread to the department, and suddenly I was managing employee engagement for the department, and that spread again to where through that initiative, I was working with the entire company to do employee appreciation events, and so that spread like wildfire. And that opportunity and really operating, like you said, Rebecca, as if I was operating, still doing my core scope of work, but operating as if I was the employee engagement manager. That led to an opportunity with someone who had left the organization, who went to a very small company and said, hey, can you come do the same thing for us? Can you help build our culture from the ground up? And I said, yeah, let's go. And so that really was my first opportunity to put that hat on. But I wouldn't have been successful in that role without having flexed the muscles and stretched the muscles and operated as if, while I was still also trying to juggle my core scope of work.
Flex the muscles, stretch the muscles, act as if, let's go. I love it.
Let's go.
It's
Yes,
back to like, you can do it and let's go, right?
yes, exactly.
We have David has shared with us a little bit about the importance of trying new things and flexing those muscles. His own personal experience was that he worked in construction early on and ended up taking a short term role in a contact center many years ago. That role has helped me develop my career to where I am now. And I think you should always explore options, as you never know where you will end up. So thank you very much, David, for sharing your story as well. Katelyn, I can't believe it. I think again we're creeping closer and closer to customer service week. So you probably got to get going
I
and
know.
head back
There's
to
so much more
supporting
to
the team.
do.
We really appreciate your time today for firing us up about the wall of wow, everything that's going to be happening in during customer service week, and also helping us to walk away with some advice and some nuggets we can take into our own career, whether we're just getting started or we've been around the block for 40 years, whatever it may be. You've given us some really practical and actionable advice that we can move forward with. So, Katelyn, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day and a happy customer service week, which will kick off on Monday.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Good luck to you and your team and all of our operations partners around the world as you guys kick off the week next week. I look forward to seeing it all in social. So thank you very much, Katelyn. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, we're not done yet. We have got our hot jobs section that we want to chat with you a little bit more about today. We have just wanted to start with taking you to TTEC Jobs. This is our homepage. You can drop in ttechjobs.com. Our team will be sharing it in the chat with you as well. Come and learn more about us, what makes us tick, learn more about our team members, hear right from them about why they love TTEC and find it a great place to work. And of course, we are hiring. So we wanted to highlight a job today in our LATAM region in Bogota, Colombia. We are looking for a bilingual customer service representative who is bilingual with English and Spanish. And as we've been talking about this whole time, our goal here is to deliver amazing customer service to clients and customers. So please check out that job if you're in the Bogota, Colombia area. And don't worry if you don't happen to be in Colombia, because I see we have people in the audience from Nigeria and all around the world. We do have other opportunities. So just come check it out on ttechjobs.com. If you don't see an opportunity available today, click over here to join our talent community, and you'll be receiving job alerts as jobs come up that meet your interest. Mumbai, everyone. If you happen to be in India, we are looking for a manager for our sales service delivery team. This is an awesome opportunity to work with our frontline associates, our team leads, recruiters, trainers, and supporting customers and they're delivering their amazing services too. So please come check out our manager role if you are in Mumbai. And if you are anywhere else in the world, just come back over to TTEC Jobs and see what's available in your neck of the woods. We've dropped in the chat those two hot jobs for today. We want to say thank you so much for joining us today. We, again, understand that you have many ways that you can consume information, spend your time. Michael joined us at lunch, so we really appreciate you dropping by and becoming a part of the conversation. If you found today's episode of value, sharing is caring. Please feel free to share this episode with your network for people who may be feeling a little stuck in their career, looking for a career pivot, or heck, they may want to learn more about employee engagement and how to become a part of that growing and evolving field. We will see you back again in 2 weeks. Be sure to follow TTEC's profile on LinkedIn so you never miss an episode. Once again, thank you to our guest, Katelyn, for joining us today, to her team and our operations partners around the globe, because I know it's going to be a great customer service week next week. Thank you as well to our producers of the show who help make this go smoothly every other week. We appreciate your time, and everyone, thank you for joining in. We'll see you back in 2 weeks.